Hey everyone, this is Mason, Masonzero Gaming, and today I wanted to make a video about my office, or my wife's office specifically. And here it is. So I'm just going to start going through it. First we have my setup, the command center, 3 monitors, lots of stuff. So I'll start with the PC, which I built myself. It is a micro ATX form factor, so a little bit smaller, but we have a Ryzen 5 5600X overclocked to whatever it goes to, and we have an RTX 3070 and a Cooler Master AIO, ASRock motherboard, some RGB fans, and a bunch of storage. So we have a 1 terabyte SSD for the boot drive and games and stuff, a 500 gig SSD for editing videos off of, a 2 terabyte hard drive I store my games on, most of my other games, an 8 terabyte hard drive I have most of my files on, and then some more games, and then a random 500 gig drive for random crap. So that's my computer. Only downside is no RGB fans on the front because they're on the cooler. That's the only way I can mount it. But yeah, so that is the computer. Then I just have it on this stand that has my guitar amp and some extra parts and stuff. And then moving to the computer, we have 2 monitors up top, which are both random Dell basic monitors, just 60 FPS, 1080p. And then we have a 1080p 144 Hz monitor from MSI as the main gaming monitor. Got these 2 speakers on the side, which are relatively cheap, but are supposedly studio monitor speakers. This is the camera I use for streaming, which I recently discovered I can do. Don't really recommend this camera specifically for this, because it is on the lower end of DSLRs. So yeah, wouldn't recommend it for that, but good camera otherwise. And then I have a HyperX keyboard, which I do like the full size for the number pad and everything. And then we have a Logitech mouse, which probably a little bit of a weird choice, this MMO mouse with a bunch of buttons. But I quite like it a lot. And then moving on, and then this, not a gaming chair, but a decent office chair. It's pretty comfortable. I got that recently. And then moving on to Sophie's setup, we have what appears to be unassuming on the top. We've got a couple monitors, a good setup, but then wait till we get to the PC down below. So main monitor is a 165 Hz monitor, also 1080p. Very fancy. And then this one's just a 75 Hertz secondary monitor, which I'm only using this one because it was one that we had that mounted to a pole, which, as you can see, each of these is on a monitor arm for maximum cable management. We got a couple decent speakers right under the monitors, a Razer keyboard, RGB mousepad, and a Logitech mouse. And then the cool thing about this setup is that, well, for me, I use my setup for work, but I don't have to do anything different. I just use this for work. But Sophie has a work laptop, and there's actually a little USB right here. She just disconnects from her desktop and connects to her laptop, and then all of her peripherals and everything, monitors, is connected to that, which is super convenient, and we spent a lot of time trying to figure out the optimal way to do that. So moving on to the computer. Again, unassuming from the front, just a plain white box, but as we move on to the side, you can see it in all of its glory. This was a lot of fun to build. We have a overclocked 9900K under there, under that liquid cooler. We got RTX 2080, 16 gigs of RAM, Some nice looking fans. Overall, really good looking computer. Even has a white power supply that has RGB on the bottom, which you can kind of see. And white cables. A nice magnetic door. Which is very cool. So yeah, she has the better looking computer, for sure. And the star of the show, basically, a very exciting thing we did most recently was cable management. So, as you can see, all of her cables are under here and pretty well managed. Like, you can't really see anything from up above. And then mine is the same. I've got all my cables down there. Obviously, looking at this level, you know, it's not perfect, but looking from up above, you can't see anything unless you're down there. This desk is also a standing desk. And then we have the Corsair gaming chair, which is the most comfortable chair I've ever sat in. Let's see, what else? Oh, there's the shelf up here, which we made ourselves. By made, I mean we bought an 8-foot long plank and stained it, and then screwed these holders into the wall. But staining it was fun, and sanding it. And then we put a whole bunch of trinkets that we like up there, and these fake plants that we just got. So that's cool. We got our Magic the Gathering mountain over there. And then moving on to the other side of the room, we actually have a third PC set up here, which is this mini PC, which not as powerful as my main PC by any means, but was definitely a lot more fun to build because of the constraints of the size. So this is a Silverstone case. I think it's like 11.5 liters. And what made me want to buy it is that you can put a full-sized power supply in it, and you can fit a pretty decently sized graphics card, and the whole thing is still very small. So we have a 144 hertz curved monitor hooked up to that, and we have a budget mechanical keyboard and my old Razer Mamba, and then a hard RGB mousepad. And this has a overclocked Ryzen 5 3600, 16 gigs of RAM, and my old GTX 1080 graphics card, which was in my computer before I got the 3070. And then we've got some basic speakers on there, as well as cable management, which is super clean. Again, can't see a thing when you're above it. And then this is actually our router. These pins go up, but don't really need it. Love this router. It's a mesh system, which means there's a second one elsewhere in our house, and they use some fancy Wi-Fi channel to communicate with each other, and basically we have full coverage in the entire house. And then here we have the printer. Cool. Always need a printer. This is where the cat would be, on his own personal desk, but he's there. Anyways, he usually sleeps there. Yes? And then this is the chair that usually goes with that setup, but it's a little more out of the way here. And actually, under this is another computer. This is my NAS, Network Attached Storage, which was mostly just a project to see if I could. It was fun installing a different operating system and setting up all the stuff that NASs require. And I just have a 2 terabyte hard drive in there, specifically a NAS drive, and I pretty much just store some of my extra videos and stuff like that on it. Then we have the guitar wall, which has all my guitars, and the microphone I usually use for streaming. I don't really have a good place for it, so I put it here. Yep, got the guitars, which occasionally get played. And that is pretty much it. So let's look at it in the dark. Well, mostly dark. Overall, we are quite happy with how our setup is right now. Not a lot worth changing. And the cable management is about as good as it gets. The hardware is as good as it gets, as good as we need, that's for sure. Love that I have the 5600X and 3070. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention I also have 32 gigs of RAM in there for all my professional stuff that I do. But yeah, so it's a bit of a small room, but we made the most of it. Put in 4 desks in here, which actually I think looks really good. And we've talked about before how adding that extra desk in there somehow makes the room seem better. Like it's a better use of the space, I guess. But yeah, 4 setups, 4 computers, craziness. Anyways, that is the setup tour. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments, and I will answer them to the best of my ability, whether it's specific products or whatever. And thank you so much for watching. And I guess I'll see you in the next video in the next stream. Bye-bye.